Hey all, I did just record something, but then I realised I'm wearing glasses this week because I'm not feeling 100%, and there was just ridiculous amounts of reflection in the glasses, so one thing to learn. Um, I just wanted to give a bit of a weekly update, which is what I think I'm going to do for the minute. So last week I spoke about positivity and moving forward and sort of harnessing the good in my life and pushing away the negativity, which sounds quite strange for me to say, and it's not something I'm overly good at doing, but here goes, I suppose. First week in that positive mind space has gone really well. Work. It's not my passion. It's not what I really love doing, and people know that. But I will always put my all into everything I do. So I've been working hard there, and I find it, the attitude in the workplace at the minute from everyone, with there's so much going on, is quite difficult. And we had a few days where there was just arguments and stuff, but I think what has been really clear to me is that 2-3 weeks ago I'd have had days like that, and I'd come home and I'd have just sat in front of the TV and done nothing. Whereas this week I've had days like that, and I've come home and I thought, you know what, the only way to change what I'm doing into something really positive and what I want to be doing is to actually work at it. So I came home and I started working on the website, and it's getting into the place where I'm happy with it. I'm one of those people that will always strive for more, so I don't know whether I'll ever be 100% with it. But we are getting there, and the hope is by the end of the month to be up and live and running with it. And actually, I don't think that's too much of a stretch. Work has also agreed to have a discussion with me around my hours, which is really good because it means that I can put some time into the project and giving that and the company a really good go and the attention it deserves. So I guess we'll wait and see on that one. That would be really nice to have some time back to do that, because both my websites are now, they need touching up, and they need some time being spent on them. Tender love and care, I suppose. And I think there were a few other things this week which kind of stressed me out and it got on my nerves, and then I just sort of let them go, and I thought, you know what, if you're going to be like that, then be like that. I'm not playing these school playground games anymore. I'm just not. If you want to talk to me, talk to me. If you don't, then don't. If you think that that's giving the wrong impression to certain people, then do you know what, I don't care, because you're the one with the problem, not me. We'll see what happens there, I suppose. The only slight down thing this week is there's a lot of illness and bugs going around, and I think I'm finally getting to it. So apologies if I start having a coughing fit or I go really croaky. I'm feeling a little bit worse for wear today, hence the glasses, so I can see, and just, had a bit of a headache going on. But this week coming up should be really good. I'm only in 3.5 days, and then me and my sister are heading up to London, Shepherd's Bush. We've kind of got a tradition. There's a few traditions I have with various people about different bands. Two of my best mates, is McFly and Busted, and I'm 26. I'll hold my hands up to them because it's just something we've always done. I've grown up listening to them. But the other one is The Feeling, and me and my sister have always been to their tours. I think we missed one because of her wedding, which you kind of can't avoid. And then they were heading back out on tour, and they are in Shepherd's Bush on Thursday, so we're heading up for that. Driving up to London and then driving back. My sister's got, she was 30 this year. I'm sure she'll appreciate me saying that, but she's got a car experience day the next day. So originally my day was taken off so I could take her, but her husband's going to take her now, which means I get a day back, which is... my parents go away as well, so I actually have the house to myself, which is, I'm in two minds. Do I just have a nice relaxing day doing what I want, or do I take the opportunity where the place is really quiet and I can spread my work out and I can just do what I want, but I could do that Saturday and Sunday and then back then Monday. So hopefully we'll get quite a bit of work done. Things that we're working on at the minute, other than the website, is the bespoke Romsey battlefield trip. I spoke to the gentleman who owns the tour company. So he's given me a basic itinerary of what he wants to do, and now I get to plot in the Romsey stories around that, which actually I'm really excited for. And then come November, we'll sit down and have a proper meeting and start getting things organised. But we've had quite a good feedback on that, and I hope more people will get involved. And I think that's really it at the minute. Oh no, I've got a paper to write for another conference happening next year. And I just discovered the other day that, so back on the 1st of July, I was in France at the big memorial to the missing. They had their Battle of the Somme cemetery service, and on the 18th of November is the closing service, which I am so desperate to get to, but I now need to figure out costings, because on the 17th, which is the Thursday, we're having a work do. On the 18th I want to be in France, and on the 19th I'm meant to be in Salisbury to see The Wiper Times, which is a fantastic play written by Ian Hislop. This isn't a plug or anything, but Wiper Times is incredible. It's just seeing if I've got the book. No, it's in the other room. It's an incredible adaptation of what happened. So in the First World War, a group of soldiers came across this printing press, and they began to write this newspaper out from the front line, which was very much soldier stuff, and it's quite. It just is what it is. There is a book which has got all of the copies. There is also, again, somewhere up there, the BBC did an adaptation of it a couple of years ago, and anyone interested in First World War but from the soldier's standpoint, check out Wiper Times because it is brilliant. And as I say, Ian Hislop has written this, and yeah, we decided we're going to head up to Salisbury and see it, so that should be quite good. The whole group of us going up there. So I've got to be back for that. So depending on how much it costs to get the Eurotunnel from London across to Lille and then down to Albert and back in one day, depends on whether I can go. But it would be such a shame if I missed it. But I suppose we'll have to wait and see. I will always do my best to get involved with things like that. So yeah, there's a few things going on, but I think more mentally, I realised this week that it is a lot about mental and the mental understanding and positive thinking. I suppose I've always thought was just this very silly thought process, and it doesn't achieve anything. Well, I think this week it hit me, it does. If you think positively, then things go a lot more positive and you don't feel let down all the time. Zoella herself has always spoken out about anxiety and depression, and this week she did a blog post on her anxiety, and it was also Mental Health Day, I think it was this week, and it was quite touching to see the amount of people that it does affect. I personally wish that there was more people talking out when I was sort of 14, 15, because at that age I was suffering severely from depression, and everyone I spoke to about it just told me to stop. I was being stupid. Well, the brain doesn't work like that. I wasn't being stupid. I thought it was the only way out. And who was anybody to tell me that it wasn't? People weren't willing to sit down with me and discuss why I was in that mind frame. So at the age of 14, 15, I'd really appreciated some other people saying, do you know what, I suffer from this because it's such a lonely place to be in. And it's only till now that I'm 26 that I'm beginning to understand that. And I've done some pretty stupid things in my life, which has been because of anxiety and depression, and I've missed out on a lot of things, and it's now time to start living my life, which seems silly at the age of 26 because the amount of stuff I have missed out on. I'm just beginning to get back. So as I say, last week I changed my room around, and I've got a big clip art frame that when I was living in Plymouth, it's just full of family memories. So majority of them are my sister's wedding, which was just an amazing day. But I have those people around me every single day. And so now that's going to get changed to have all my friends and family. But the reason I'm telling you that is because I needed to order those photos this week. And so I was going back through my Facebook pictures. And and mainly of this year and last year, where I was in a much better positive place, and able to deal with things. And that's when I started to challenge my things, and I went with some mates from Plymouth to Download Festival, which was hard work. I'm not going to lie, for somebody that hates large crowds, being outside, being very open to absolutely anything, and having a lot of alcohol around them, which you don't necessarily trust yourself with, it was difficult. But actually, when I was looking back on the pictures, it was the best week I'd had in a long time, and hopefully we'll be able to get together and go again. So there's loads of those doing, and then this year I did a lot of gigs with two of my best mates, one from Plymouth, one from up here, and some photos from them those times. And it just reiterated to me that, you know, how important those friends that stay beside you no matter what. I have got one or two other friends that, you know, through whatever reason we've drifted apart, and we've suffered difficult lives, and, you know, we're all at the turning point in our lives, and if that means letting go of some of those really difficult times and people that were included in those difficult times, and that's what's going to happen. But I will always be here if they ever need me, and I hope they know that. But I get where they're coming from, I really do. So for somebody like Zoella, I completely missed where I was going with that, to speak out in the way that she did this week, I just thought was quite eye-opening, I suppose. Sorry, I thought my cat was coming in. And I don't know, I just thought if more people were willing to stand up and talk about this feeling, and it's not an alien feeling, it is something we all struggle with, I'm not going to lie. My parents say they don't, but I will see times where my mum will be incredibly down, and, you know, that, whilst it might not be depression in the way that we think about it in a medical term, because it's not really deep and it doesn't make you think horrible things, you know, it is still a form. You know, she speaks out about anxiety and the panic attacks that took over your life, and I completely get that, because that was my life for a few years. So yeah, no, I really commend her for that. And I think this week just made me think that I want more from life. I'm not saying I want to go out there and become this big person, I'm just saying that I want to be able to challenge myself and at the end of the day say I've done everything I physically can, and I don't think I can at the moment. You know, the project, we've got some really big events up and coming that I really want people to get behind, but I can't do it myself. Not do it all myself anyway. You know, big events, community events such as variety shows and summer fates like they used to do, and I realised that in order for them not to fail, I have to include other people, and that's quite an alien thought for me. And the variety show in itself, I did want to do something a little bit different to sort of almost thank the town as well. So I'm just putting myself out there a bit more, and if it's a case of sending a letter or an email to somebody, what's the worst that can happen? They can say no or they don't reply, but what have I wasted? You know, a piece of paper and a stamp, or a half hour of my time sending an email. That's it. It's not the end of the world, and I'm beginning to get that now. So I'm going to have a bit of a sit down and a thought, sort of brainstorming sessions, and try and get my head around where I want these events to go. This week, and I say next weekend when the place is to myself, I'm just going to get the whiteboards out and just go for it. But I think I do want to involve people out there a bit more. So last weekend, the vlog that I did, or the video message that I did put onto YouTube. I put it as private, and I'm going to do the same with this one. I'll just put it up, and as I say, maybe at some point I'll switch it over to it becomes public. And you know what, if I do that and it reaches one person, then brilliant, it does, it reaches one person. But I was having a conversation with my mum today, and she said, you know what, why don't you put it on your website and show people what you're about, because the website in itself, and maybe I'll spend some time taking you through that, it's about being open and personal. A lot of people come to researchers to find out about certain members of their family or the whole family, and it's a really personal experience, and you want to be able to relate to that person that's doing that research so that they understand. instead of just having somebody quite cold who just takes what's in front of them and puts it on another piece of paper for you to read. This isn't about that. My thought process isn't like that. I want to understand where they come from, what they did, who they were, where they, what the family consisted of, and was there any heartache in that family, and I will do my utmost to portray that, but you can only do so much of that on a website. So maybe it's a case that I will link my YouTube into the website somehow. The company is being registered at this moment in time, which I'm so excited about. So possibly in next week's update, so I'll do a weekly update, I will tell you what the company is called once we've had all the official papers and stuff through. I'm not really sure how long it takes and what the process is, past what we've already done. But I'm sat here thinking, right, what do I need to do next? What events have we got coming up? And we've got Remembrance Day coming up, which is so important. That's not just about the war I look at this moment in time, it's about everybody that's ever served, remembering them, and actually not just that, remembering why they do it, so that we can have our country, our freedom as such. I will not go into politics on this channel. I think what is happening out in the world is just crazy, but that's a very personal thought and process, and not something I wish to get into. And I'll just stay on the history side, I think. But I just want to leave this one here. I'm not sure how long I've gone on for this time. Just want to leave one thought, and this is something that I will come back to time and time again. It's an American drummer who I've spoken with once or twice on Tumblr, and I've emailed him my story, which he asked me to do. I'm not just random and sending things out. But the last thing he said to me when he asked for my story and I didn't want to tell him was that our past makes us who we are, but doesn't contain us. And then the last sentence he said to me was that I can tell that you're going to become something. You're going to leave a legacy, and that stuck with me, and I suppose it's only now that I can see what that legacy might be. I've seen the pure joy that it can give to somebody to have an understanding or fill in the gap, and that pure joy came from something I did, and that was the most amazing feeling that I can ever get my head around. And I want to say one thing, and that is, if you have a passion, follow it. I've had numerous people tell me it's not worth doing, I won't get anywhere with it, and do you know what, I'm going to try my hardest to prove them wrong. And it's not about proving them wrong, it's proving myself right, that I am capable of doing these kind of things. And if in the meantime, or in that process, I can make somebody's family a lot more happy and they can understand what's happened, then I'm all for that. I don't know, just be true to yourself. That's the biggest thing I can say. Only you can decide where you want to go with your life and what you want to do, and you should never let anyone stop you from doing that. Equally though, don't just go full steam ahead with that because someone's told you you're not going to, because I did that and I wasted a year at university trying to do law because my parents had laughed at me when I said I was going to do it, and actually they were so right. It wasn't for me, and that's okay. I'm happy with that. Not everything is for everyone. There has to be times where we just accept it and we move on, and I've accepted my past, what's happened, what I went through, and I'm now moving on to the bigger chapter, and hopefully a much more positive and successful one. I'm going to leave it there because it feels like the right space to do so. I might record a little bit from the feeling and upload that, I'm not sure. But I will do an update next weekend when I've got the place to myself, and maybe a bigger one. And maybe go in depth in a few other bits. I'm not quite sure where my headspace is at with that at the minute. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it there, and I will see you all next week. Bye.